Hey guys, Holly J here, aka Planet Ginger, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am actually going to be making a tier ranking video of all the books I read in 2023. I got this idea from Sara Carrolli, who is a booktuber. She did this idea, and I really wanted to do some sort of a recap of my 2023 reads. And I just thought this was a really fun way to do it. I read, I think, 42 books in 2023, which is actually a lot for me. I don't normally read that much. My original goal was 50 books, so I did hit right under that at 42. But halfway through the year, I did adjust my reading goal because I felt a little too pressured to be just like flying through these books. So we're gonna be talking about the 42 books I read in 2023. So to start out, looks like the first book on my list here is Throne of Glass. I will say I wasn't super like obsessed with Throne of Glass when I first started the book. Obviously I became obsessed if you look at my sweater I'm wearing. I got this for Christmas from my friend. It says Fireheart on the front, and I should show you the back. But anyways, it says Starborn, and it has the sword on the back, and that is from Crescent City. So obviously I'm a big Sarah J. Maas fan. I read all of her series up to date, and I am so excited for Crescent City 3 to come out. So I'm kind of debating between these two slots. Part of me was like, yes, it was good and fun, and I probably would recommend it just because I know how the series continues. You know what? I'm gonna put it there because I do recommend it now. But like when I first, I'm not gonna lie, when I first read Throne of Glass, I probably would have put it in the quick and easy but unlikely to recommend, just because I just was not a fan of this first book. It wasn't terrible, but I just like was expecting more, I think, because I started off reading ACOTAR and then I went to Crescent City, then I read Throne of Glass, and it was her first novel, and it was very obviously her first novel in my opinion, and so I don't know, wasn't a fan. But anyways, we'll say good and fun and would recommend. Next up we have Crown of Midnight. I actually liked Crown of Midnight a lot better than Throne of Glass. I thought that there was a lot more, like I understood the characters more. So I'm gonna put it in good and fun and would recommend. Caraval. So the Caraval series I actually read towards the end of 2023, so I'm kind of on a Caraval grind right now because I'm reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, which if you didn't know, because I didn't know at first, so I'm so glad I read it in the order I did. Once Upon a Broken Heart is a spin-off series to the Caraval trilogy. So I did read Caraval first, luckily, and I really liked it. I am actually going to put it in loved it, and it was a highlight read of 2023 for me because this world is so freaking cool. Stephanie Garber just like really kind of made something different, but it still had the element of like a romancy element to it, which I personally need in my books. It was just really well done. I really liked it. Next up we have Legendary, which is the second book in Caraval series. I really liked this book. It was actually one of my top reads of 2023. I am debating between Please Inject This Book Into My Veins and Loved It and highlight read of 2023. I did give it 5 stars on Goodreads. I'm just gonna say Please Inject This Book Into My Veins because I just liked it a lot. I really, really, really liked that book. Like, it was just really good. So I'm just gonna put it there. Without saying much, I'm gonna put it there. Finale. I'm gonna say Finale was I'm gonna say Loved It and a highlight read of 2023. And the reason for that is because, so I think I gave Finale a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and there's this plot element of Finale that I did not really like that much. And I don't want to like give anything away, but it has to do with a certain group of individuals. I just like wasn't a fan of them, and this book really centered around that. If you've read it, you probably know what I'm talking about. I kind of was disappointed with Finale compared to Caraval and Legendary, but it's the third book in Caraval, so I feel like it needs to be higher. Like, in reality, I probably would put it down here as a good and fun, would recommend read. Actually, no, I will move it there because it did fall a little bit flat for me, but I would recommend it because it like ends the Caraval trilogy. Okay, The Chase, which is the first book in the Briar U series, which the Briar U books are a spin-off series to the Off-Campus books, which are hockey romances. So here's my issue. I would recommend reading the series if you're really into the Off-Campus books. It's fun nostalgia because there's a lot of repeating characters and stuff in it. So I'm going to put The Chase under a quick and easy read, but unlikely to recommend because that specific book in the Briar series was not my favorite. Which this kind of leads into The Risk. The Risk was probably one of the only books that I thoroughly enjoyed in the Briar U series. So I'm gonna put it in good and fun and would recommend. It was a really good book and I really liked the characters in it. It wasn't quite like a highlight read of 2023 for me, but I would recommend it. Okay, Credence. Okay, so Credence, out of all the books I read last year, is probably one of the most controversial reads. People have a lot to say about this book, and some people are obsessed with it, other people are not. I literally think about this book so much. Like, I won't say I'm like obsessed with it, because it's not even that I'm obsessed with it. It's just like I think about it so often. I mean, it's 100% a highlight read for me. I actually really liked Credence, and some people really do not. I don't know if it's like an inject this into my veins book, but I think about this book so freaking often, so it definitely is a highlight read. I'll just leave it at that. The Play, okay, again, this is another Briar U book. I think this is the third one. I liked it. I would recommend this one. Specifically because The Play, if you have read the Off-Campus books, then you will know who Hunter Davenport is, and he's the main character in this book. And I just really liked Hunter. The Risk and The Play, personally, were my favorite books in the Briar U series. So I would recommend reading both of them, especially if you're a fan of the L. Kennedy, like, hockey boys. So I'll put it there. Wild at Heart. So this is the second book in the Wild series, which the first one is, what is it called? Oh my god, what's it called? The Simple Wild is the first book. I personally have a soft spot for this particular book because I think it was really cute. So I'm gonna say it was good and so I'm gonna say it's good and fun and would recommend to people, but I would have to talk to the person first before I recommend it, because if you're really into romance and you're expecting this to be a romance, this is gonna fall flat for you. But if you are really involved with these characters and you like Calla as a person and you like Jonah and you just want to continue their story, I think it's a great book. And I think it's really cute, personally. So I'm gonna put it there. Fable, I liked it. It was good, but I was not at all obsessed with it, and I kind of thought it was going to be different than what it was. I am going to put... Oh my god, I hate to do this, but I almost want to say I wasn't a fan. Now, the other book in the series, Namesake, I'll get to that in a little bit, but that's going to be different. But Fable actually did not do it for me. I think I did give it 3 out of 5 stars, because it wasn't like a bad book, but I just wasn't a super big fan of it. I think I was just expecting more. The Dare. So that is the last book in the Briar U books, and I am actually going to put this book as well in wasn't a fan. Again, I think I gave this one 3 out of 5 stars, and I don't know. I didn't care for it. I don't know. Just didn't care for it. It was definitely my least favorite in the Briar U books, and I'll just leave it at that. So Forever Wild is a novella. So I'm going to put it in good and fun and would recommend, because if you like the Wild books up until that point, you're going to like Forever Wild. It's a short read. It's super quick. I think it's like 250 pages. Super quick and easy read. Yeah, I'm going to put it in good and fun and would recommend. So I just noticed, and I think I could have done this differently, looking at how I imported these pictures into Tiermaker. I should have put these books in like long format into this program, but I didn't, so they're in square, so sorry. it probably looks a little funky because they're all cut off, but hopefully you can get the gist of what these books are just by, you know, the square image of them. So sorry, I'm not going to go back and fix it now because then I would have to redo this video up until this point, and I just don't feel like doing that. Okay, the next one, Running Wild. I am going to put in loved it, and it's a highlight read of 2023. I was really pleasantly surprised with this book. I did not like this character in the Wild series at all. I was dreading reading this book. I did not think I was going to read this book. I thought I was just going to skip it, but I ended up doing it anyways. I really do like the simple Wild still, but Running Wild was like very, like they were like almost neck and neck for books that I really enjoyed, and yeah. I just thought about it a lot, I feel like, so I'm going to put it as a highlight read of 2023. Okay, obviously you know I'm a Sarah J. Maas fan at this point. House of Freaking Sky and Breath, you guys. The end of this book is like earth-shattering. Like, this is definitely a please inject this book into my veins. This book is just so freaking good. Like, I do not understand Sarah J. Maas. She puts crack in her books, I swear. Like, that book is so good. Anyone who does not like Crescent City, like, please, like, if you have not read them all, you need to read them and, like, reevaluate. I am such a Crescent City lover. Like, I really like those characters, and I love, love, love the series so much. Just, like, oh, God, you just gotta read it. They're just so good. Throttled. Yeah. I read it. That's like, I hate to do that to Lauren Asher because I really like her writing. Like, the Dreamland Billionaire series is really good, but Throttled did not do it for me, let me tell you. That was a struggle to get through that book for me. Like, I almost didn't finish it, but I did. So we read it, and here we are. I might end up reading the next book. This was her debut novel, so maybe her writing just got a little bit better as the series progressed, but man, I had nothing really to say about that book. Scarred. Okay, I would say quick and easy read, but unlikely to recommend. So Emily McIntyre actually does not do it for me. I was kind of surprised because I generally really like fairy tale retellings, and I'm not shy when it comes to reading smut, I guess. But I don't know. All of her, like, Wicked Villains books, are they called Wicked Villains? Sorry, that was a different series. It's not Wicked Villains. These are called the Never After books. I'm not a super big fan of any of them. Like, they're not terrible. I've read them. They're enjoyable when I'm reading it, but I don't ever really think about them after I'm done with the book. I don't think I would go out of my way to recommend these books, so I'm gonna put it there. Below Zero. So this is a novella by Ali Hazelwood, and there's 3 of them. I think this is now a novel. They put them all into one novel, and it's called, oh gosh, I don't even remember what it's called. But these 3 next books by Ali Hazelwood are novellas, and they're now encompassed into one book. But I read them all separately. So, Below Zero was actually one of my favorites out of them all, so I'm gonna say it was good and fun and would recommend it. Because it was a simple read, it was super small, but it was cute, and I really liked it. Stuck With You, I am going to put in quick and easy, but unlikely to recommend, and I think I'm going to put Under One Roof there too. I read these books, and they were fun, quick romances, but I wasn't super obsessed with them, and I don't think I would go out of my way to recommend it or anything like that, so that's where they're gonna go. Wretched. Okay, so again, this is another Emily McIntyre. It's the 3rd book in the Never After book series, and I'm gonna again put it in quick and easy, but unlikely to recommend. Actually, no. Wretched I am gonna move. I would probably recommend that book. Out of all the ones I've read so far, Wretched actually was my favorite, so I would probably recommend that one. All these books are very much like almost mafia romance vibes, but then like they have random characters that are supposed to be kind of Disney-esque characters. And Wretched just seemed more relatable than any of the other ones. It seemed more real and I kind of enjoyed it. So I would recommend that book. Ricochet. This one is the second book in the Addicted series. I am gonna put that in good and fun and would recommend. It's not super long, but it does impact the rest of the Addicted series, so you do need to read it. But there wasn't anything crazy that happens in it. It's not like I don't even think I can tell you what exactly happened in it. To be honest, like the Addicted series, once you start reading them, they all kind of start blending together. At least for me, they do. But I'll put Ricochet there. Hooked. That's the first book in the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, and I am going to put that in quick and easy, but unlikely to recommend. I was disappointed in that book, to be honest with you, because actually, I'm almost tempted to put this down with wasn't a fan, because, I think I'm going to put it there just because I had a lot of high hopes going into this book, and I am a Peter Pan lover. So if you're going to write a Peter Pan retelling, I want it to like blow my mind. I want it to be super good, and I want to be super invested in your characters. And I just was not expecting Hooked to be like mafia style romance. I don't know. It fell flat for me, so I'm going to say I was not a fan of it. Addicted to You. I am going to put this as loved it, and it was a highlight read of 2023. I am knee deep in the Addicted series right now. Those were the only 2 books I read in 2023, but now, I mean, it's only halfway through January and I've already read 2 more of them. I really grow to love these characters, so I'll say I loved it and it was a highlight read of 2023. Fourth Wing! Okay, yeah, we're all gonna, I think everyone's read Fourth Wing at this point. I loved it. The first book, Please Inject It Into My Veins. I loved it. I was all about that dragon life. I was all about Xaden. Daddy Xaden is just, he is a freaking badass. I love Xaden so much. It was so, so good. Fair Catch. So originally I probably would have put this book and wasn't a fan, but I actually did grow to like it a little bit towards the end, and so I'll say it was a quick and easy read, but I'm unlikely to recommend it. Candy Steiner has been getting a lot of really positive publicity for sports romances, so this is my first Candy Steiner read, and I wasn't super obsessed with it, so I started reading this book, got maybe 50 pages into it, and put it aside because I just did not feel invested in it. I did end up enjoying it, but it definitely is not a fave of mine or anything like that. Final Offer. This is the last book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. I really enjoyed it. I will say I loved it, and it was a highlight read of 2023. I don't think it was like inject this into my veins status, but I really did like it. I love the Dreamland Billionaires books. I do think that out of all 3 of them, my favorite is still, oh my gosh, what's it called? Terms and Conditions. The second book is still my favorite, but Final Offer was pretty good. Oh my gosh, Elsie Silver. I am so glad I discovered Elsie Silver in 2023. I did not know I was a cowboy girl, but like I guess I am, because these cowboys literally have my heart. So Heartless is the second book in the Chestnut Springs series written by Elsie Silver, and this was literally, I think it's my favorite in the whole series. So this is inject this book into my veins. Cade is, wow. He is a man. He is a straight up man. And Willa is like my spirit animal. I feel like I have Willa energy in my soul. So inject this book into my veins. Flawless, that's the first book in the Chestnut Springs series. I'm gonna say this is a good and fun read and would recommend it. Obviously this is what propelled me into Elsie Silver's books, but the more I think about it, I actually think Flawless, like compared to some of the other books in the series, Flawless just didn't do it for me, but it still is a super good book, and it like gets you into her cowboy romance books. So I'm gonna say it was a good and fun read and would recommend it because I recommend the series so much. Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. Okay. Empire of Storms, I'm gonna say please inject this book into my veins, and Tower of Dawn, I'm gonna say loved it, and it was a highlight. Ooh, why is it not? There we go. And it was a highlight read of 2023 for me. I thoroughly enjoyed Tower of Dawn. I'm gonna say it. I know everyone has an issue with Kale and they don't like it because the book surrounds Kale. But doing the tandem read and reading Empire of Storms at the same time as Tower of Dawn, first of all, I think it's the only way to read those two books. I highly recommend doing that. Second of all, I like Kale. I do not have this hatred for Kale that I see all over the internet from people. Like, I think he's perfectly fine. Do I think he's normal and human and makes mistakes? Yeah, but I don't understand this like intense hatred for him. Tower of Dawn was a highlight read for me in 2023. I actually really liked his character development in it. And Empire of Storms, just inject this book into my veins. It was so freaking good. Like, so good. Just so much happens in that book. It's just insane. Powerless. This is the third book in the Chestnut Springs series by Elsie Silver. I actually am going to say I wasn't a fan of it. That was by far my least favorite in the whole series, and it actually was almost a struggle for me to get through, and I don't really know why, because I always thought I really liked Jasper as a character in the books, and that's who the whole book is about, but I just felt really like... I almost felt really disconnected from the Eaton family, and obviously you kind of are because Jasper's not technically an Eaton, but I don't know. I wasn't obsessed with Powerless. Heir of Fire. I think I'm gonna put it in good and fun and would recommend purely because I like Throne of Glass. When I go back and reread them, I might get a totally different perspective of Heir of Fire because now I know what happens and I know all the characters better. But like, holy smokes, in Heir of Fire, I was just like, nothing is happening. Like, where is the plot? Like, why do I not really care about these characters? I don't know, I just was not like an Heir of Fire fan, which, you know, going back, I feel like I'll have a different appreciation for it. So I'm going to put it in good and fun and would recommend just because I ended up really liking Throne of Glass. But when I originally read this, I did not care for this book at all. I thought it was, I don't know. Okay, so then we have Namesake. So this is what I was talking about with Fable. So Namesake is the second book. And Namesake, I actually really liked compared to Fable. I really liked it. It was a good and fun read and I would recommend it. It had a bit more romance in it, which I think kind of made it, and you kind of see the character, Fable herself, get stronger. And I liked it compared to the first book. The first book I was kind of like, eh, and then I'm glad that I did read Namesake because I liked it a lot better than the first book. Queen of Shadows, once again, oh my gosh. Queen of Shadows is what propelled me into absolutely being utterly obsessed with Throne of Glass. I was like zooming through these books once I finished that. So that's where it's gonna go. Please inject this into my veins. Again, Kingdom of Ash, please inject this into my veins. That book, I mean, just so much happens in... Once you hit Queen of Shadows, so much happens in all the books, it's just ridiculous. But Kingdom of Ash, obviously, it's the grand finale, it's the war, it's, I mean, you are in the midst of everything happening. I think Queen of Shadows actually might be my favorite in the series because there's this moment where, like, all the characters, like, meet, but all the characters don't really know they're in the same area and they don't really know that they're meeting. It's just really cool. So I like Queen of Shadows because of that, and then Kingdom of Ash, again, I like it because all the characters come together in the finale and it's just really cool. The Graham Effect. Okay. I was not a fan when I heard that Elle Kennedy was coming out with like a next generation off-campus books, but I got the Graham Effect because it was getting such good publicity by everybody. Everyone was really obsessed with it. And you know what? I was obsessed with it. I really enjoyed it. And I think I'm going to say please inject this book into my veins. I freaking love these characters. Like, I love seeing Garrett as an adult. I love seeing Hannah as an adult. The other hockey boys make appearances. It's just really nostalgic and really well written, and I really enjoyed it. And Gigi and Ryder, they are so cute together. It's just really cute. It was a really well done book, and I did not think I would like it, so that's really impressive for me. The Fae Princes. So it is the last book in the Never King series by Nikki St. Croix, and I really enjoyed that series. All those books were like high rated books for me, like 5-star books. The Fae Princes, looking back on it, it probably was one of my least favorite in her series, and it was the last one, so that's a little bit disappointing to me. You know what, I'll say it was good and I would recommend it because I would recommend the series as a whole. The Assassin's Blade for me was a good and fun read and I'd recommend it. I wish I would have started with The Assassin's Blade because I think I would have liked Selena way better if I started with that book and then read Throne of Glass, because my biggest struggle reading Throne of Glass was that I just did not really like Selena. Like, I just didn't like her because I didn't understand her, and The Assassin's Blade helped me understand her more. Okay, this is another one. Please inject this into my veins. Theo Silva in Reckless. I really, really, really liked Theo and Winter's relationship. If I were to like say what my favorite book in the Chestnut Spring series is, I think I would say Heartless, but Reckless is like they are just so close together. They're just so good. They're just so good. Hopeless, that was the last book in the Chestnut Spring series, and that one just got released in October of 2023. I honestly am gonna put that as a I'm gonna put that as a good and fun read and would recommend it. I almost put it in a loved it highlight read of 2023, but actually I don't think it's quite a highlight read, but it was a cute ending to the Chestnut Spring story, and I do really like Beau, and I liked Bailey, but I don't think it was quite like a highlight loved it book for me. Okay, here we go. Last book of 2023. This was not the last book I read in 2023, by the way, but it's my last book on here, and let's talk about Iron Flame for a minute. Iron Flame took me so long to read. Like, it took me way longer than I thought it would for me to read it. I personally felt like Iron Flame was way too long, or it needed to be longer. Like, one of the two. Like, I personally think, so there's kind of like 2 sections of the book, and I think she should have cut it off. Like, part 1 should have been one book, part 2 should have been another. The pacing was kind of off on the book. I have some gripes about certain characters. It was not a highlight read of 2023 for me. It is not an inject this into my veins. You know what, I'm gonna say it's good and I would recommend it because I'm not like just giving up on the series, and it wasn't terrible. I didn't think the book was like awful. I feel like there was such a hype surrounding this book and its release that like it just fell really flat. Oh my gosh, can we talk about the font size? The font size is like minuscule. So that gave me anxiety while reading it too, because the font was just so small. Okay. Wow. That was kind of fun. And like looking at this, it's just like so interesting to me. It was really kind of a mixed bag for the year. Like I really enjoyed a lot of the books I read, but some of them weren't that great. If you've made it this far in my YouTube video, feel free to give me a like and subscribe, and if you liked this style of video, doing these tier rankings, I thought it was pretty fun, and I think it's just more interactive than just me sitting here talking about the books I've read. Also, feel free to follow me on my Bookstagram account, which is at Planet Ginger's Library, or you can follow me on my main Instagram at planet_ginger. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you got some good reading recommendations maybe for this year. Hopefully I inspired you to pick up at least one of these in my discussion today and my ranking today, or I just totally turned you off from reading a certain book that you had been eyeing. I don't know. Either way, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.